This is the end. Hold your breath and count to 10. Feel the earth move again. This is your Tuesday edition of Born to Be a Star. Today is another day and another opportunity for you to recognize your star power. And let's get to the podcast by talking about the mantra of the day. Every day is an opportunity for us to not only recognize our star power, but we're reflecting on where we've been and where we're going by looking into the mirror, whether it be in the bathroom, on your phone, in your car, in your bedroom, at work, wherever the mirror might be. We're looking in the mirror and we're reflecting on where we've been and where we're going to next on our stardom journey, right? Taking into consideration that we are learning to love ourselves, we're spending more time appreciating what we're seeing in the mirror. I definitely think sometimes we have to learn how we're changing, and that's okay. So, the first part of us liking the reflection in the mirror is looking in the mirror and saying to ourselves at the beginning of our days, yes, I can have a good day. Not just that, but yes, I can learn something new, try something different. Yes, I can, I don't know, learn how to play hockey, learn how to play croquet, learn how to join a tennis tournament. I don't know, learn how to play the saxophone or learn a different language I haven't learned before. Today is another opportunity for me to travel or finally upgrade the car that I've been needing to upgrade for years. It's finally time for us to look at a house instead of continuously spending all this ridiculous money on an apartment. Or maybe it's time for us to sell the house so we can get an apartment, so we can make monthly payments that are actually affordable instead of overpaying for things that aren't. That's the idea of yes, you can. It's that you're telling yourself that you can accomplish something even if you don't necessarily know how to do it. You can learn new things if you don't know how to do them. That is a possibility, right? Moving on from the idea of yes, you can is the idea of never giving up. How can you love yourself or anyone else and be willing to give up on them? You have to persevere through the difficulty. You have to persevere through the darkness to get back to the light because you're the light. You get bad news from the doctor, maybe you get good news. I lost 11 pounds. The doctor said to me, don't fall for the tricks with weight loss, blabber nabber, and go low, and a bunch of other things too that I don't necessarily need. Whatever I'm doing, just continue that and just focus. That's just one example of never giving up. I could have given up because I thought I had polycystic ovary syndrome forever, but I got rid of that too. So I guess the momentum is, even if the doctor tells you have cancer, you could always get chemo or try to find another way to get out of that, right? You could find another solution to fight the cancer, right? The doctor tells you something about your eyes. The doctor tells you something about your skin. There's always an opportunity for you to fix that. And we have to look for those opportunities to fix those things by not being scared. So no, we can't give up on each other and we can't give up on ourselves. And finally, after the idea of never giving up, is the idea of why not today? Because we can't procrastinate and be indecisive. We can't push off today for tomorrow. That's not the case. We need to get things done when they need to be done, right? The dishwasher hasn't worked for 2 weeks. At what point are you going to go on Angie's List and fix that? Are you going to fix the dishwasher? I mean, I say it every day. Do you want to do DIY? If you know it's not working right and you have someone to contact them to fix it. Do you really want to wash dishes by hand with Dawn? Who wants to do that? The washing machine's not working in the basement. Gotta get that fixed too. And what about the car? You need to contact the mechanic. If the paint is weird on the wall, then you gotta repaint that. These are things that can be done. We need to organize our lives. We need to do things differently so we don't lose out on time. That's that's the idea. If we don't plan effectively, then that's going to be a detriment to us. And every day I say to you about the effectiveness of organization, strategizing, and planning things out in advance. Because if you don't do that, you're not going to be able to do anything. That's the moral of the story. We can't buy time. This is not Click with Adam Sandler. This is not a movie about being able to buy time and control it and having a time machine. No, if you have something to do and you don't do it correctly, you're going to run out of time. If you need to fix something, then you have to find a way to fix it. The actual way to fix it. The idea of why not today is we don't put off the day for tomorrow because we're fully aware that the aliens are going to come down at some point and they're going to be hungry. And we got to get everything done before we get eaten by the aliens. The aliens is a metaphor for life. Life is going to pass you by if you don't get things done. That's the moral of the story. Why not today? Moving on from the moral of the story and why not today, thank you for tuning into the mantra at the beginning of the podcast. Let us get to the headlines with no media allowed, no media allowed, no media allowed. Because they lie to us anyway. So that bitch from the Secret Service resigned today. No surprise after her bullshit ass testimony during her squandering questionnaire yesterday. I think every American in the United States of America should just be appalled and feel disrespected that there is a body of our government that cannot answer very basic questions, and we should seriously be concerned. It's not just that someone almost killed Donald Trump. Someone did kill a retired fire chief. Someone did injure 2 other people. Someone did get in an area that they weren't supposed to be. And there were witnesses. Now there is a tape. There's nothing but evidence proving that they didn't do their jobs. Not only did they not do their jobs, but the police on the ground didn't do their jobs. And I know that the Secret Service doesn't want to call out the police, but they should. But the Secret Service also had a responsibility, and they didn't do it. And the idea that now you're going to punish Trump and tell him he needs to have his events only inside, well, that's not fair to all the Trump supporters and everybody that wants to support him. That's not fair to us. But okay, there you go again, hitting another nail with a hammer, trying to take away something else. It kind of feels like the only reason she got hired is because she's a DEI hire. Not only is she a DEI hire, she's a yes man lady for Jill Biden, and everybody knows it. We're pretending like they hired her based off her merit and her education and her skill set. She came from Pepsi, man. What was she monitoring? The bottles in the 7-Eleven? Because I've been in 7-Eleven. I didn't see her there or any of her affiliates there. How does that position qualify you to be the head of Secret Service? Now, Secret Service is supposed to protect people, whether they're in office in the White House or they're not, former presidents, new presidents, family members of these people, especially Donald Trump, because so many people don't like him. What if this happened to Joe Biden, who disappeared for a week after he came out and said he wasn't running for election? What if this happened to Kamala Harris? What if this happened to any of these people? Their lives are in jeopardy because they have a body of government that's not doing their jobs. And no one's asking the difficult questions. How did that 20-year-old get that close to pull that off? Right? We know how many of these weapons exist. And the idea that we're going to say you can't use the weapons is clearly insane. But how did he get that close without anyone being there? The police officer that was supposed to be in that area said he didn't want to be there because it was too hot. Well, the Secret Service should have had a conversation with him about, we don't give a fuck what you think about the heat. This is where you're being stationed. That should have been a conversation, and it wasn't the conversation. Okay. I do think that the person that was in charge of the Secret Service did lie on the stand, so she committed perjury. And it's going to be fun watching her try to get out of this. But this is the Democratic Party. These are the people that exist in the shadows. And it's funny that this happened because it happened to the Secret Service. Secret Service. Is that not insane? Moving on from the Secret Service, Joe Biden came out today, and I think he's going to speak tomorrow or some crap, and I don't even really want to hear what he has to say. I just can't wait to watch this DNC. They hid him away for a week, right? Permine Jean-Pierre went on The View today and said that Joe Biden did a great job selecting Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is polling worse than Joe Biden. Nobody in their right mind likes her. And I mean nobody. I'm not just talking about race with nobody. I'm just talking about everything. Whether you're gay, bi, trans, straight, left, right, green, purple, yellow, alien, human, or a dog or a cat. Nobody likes her. She is incompetent, incompatible with the American, and she has no self-awareness. This woman laughs at stuff that's not funny. She likes talking about yellow school buses and Venn diagrams. And she tried to act cool, so she tried to admit that she does drugs. And this is really the representation of the Democratic Party. Shouldn't Democrats be upset? Especially because they voted for Joe Biden in a primary. And I got a lot of questions. How does this work with the actual law that exists to prevent this type of stuff from happening? How long are they going to keep her in this position until they replace her? Why are we allowing the Democratic Party to do this? Kamala Harris is totally left, totally insane, and totally crazy. And honestly, have we done this to ourselves? I mean, I didn't vote for Biden in 2020, and I definitely did not vote for Hillary in 2016. I came into this as an independent and an unaffiliated. That's how I became a Republican. And I'm not telling anybody how to vote, but I am telling you that is your representation Kamala Harris, who has failed at everything she's supposed to be responsible for. Have you actually seen the border? I told you last week about the woman, the mom of 5 that was murdered in the park, Laken Riley, murdered at school, a 13-year-old murdered going to the store for her mom in Texas, a 12-year-old raped in a park in New York, countless other deaths for no reason from illegal aliens. Not just that, a crime spree around the United States of America that cannot be controlled because they hate cops. This is the Democratic Party. What you're seeing, the chaos, the blood, the strain, the pain, the insanity, this is them. We can't pretend like it isn't, because it is. They don't like anything being constrained or held together. Kamala Harris has come out and said she's not going to be there during the Netanyahu conversation that's going to happen. Of course she isn't. She shouldn't be, honestly. And I don't really think you should be offended, because I wouldn't want some idiot listening to me speak either. She's completely incompetent, and she is definitely a DEI hire. She has no qualifications to even be the vice president of the United States of America. And what exactly has she done as the vice president? Do you understand that Nancy Pelosi even admitted that she doesn't actually have a responsibility? So if she doesn't actually have a responsibility, how does this work? That's the question. How does it work? And I don't know. I do think that we have to play this safe. I do think that instead of us giving them a way out, we just let them dig their own graves. We just let them be the noise and them be the main show. I think that Trump has done an excellent job so far, that, he has done a great job of just being silent and taking himself out of the limelight, which is great, because every camera, every reporter should be talking about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the horrible job that they've done in America. There should be no way out for them, because how many of these illegal aliens are going to bring into this country and tell us that we just have to ignore? How many more people got to die? I asked you that question on Friday, right? and they don't have a number. They're never going to be satisfied. They love open borders. They love punishing Americans like this is our fucking problem. And I said to you yesterday that we can't go to any other country and do this, so why do they get to come here? That's still the main question. Do you understand that they had a DEI hire in charge of the Secret Service that was completely incompetent, and she resigned because she knew it was next, and she still didn't answer any of the questions? Joe Biden putting her husband out there in that embarrassing way, and then Parmeen Jayapat going on fucking The View to talk about how great Kamala Harris is. Now, we all know that they're going to start lying out of their ass about everything Kamala Harris has done, but there is video showing just how insane she is that everybody should go and watch and see. They're probably going to try to get rid of all of it, so take the time to go watch it, right? She's fucking crazy. Look at the place that she represented now. Is that a place you really want to go to? No one in their right mind should want to go to California, but I want you to specifically look at the district she represented during her time in the Senate. And tell me if you think that leads her to a qualification to be the president of the United States. She didn't even fight for this position. They gave it to her. She's unqualified. So is Joe Biden. They don't have anyone to actually run. So they're putting in fillers. Yep, fillers. When they come for us, this is when we need to rise up and say, not today. This is the United States of America, and I am an American. And I do have rights. And you can't take them away from me. Because we do have a constitution. We do have rights. These people have overused their power, and someone needs to tell them where they exist. Nowhere. This is all political show fare, right? It's just like some, TV show on Fox that's supposed to capture the audience's attention, like The Bachelor or one of those ridiculous shows. Does anybody actually want to have that experience? Of course not. Is it entertaining to watch these idiots act like stupid fools on a dating show? Of course, yes. Just like everything that they create so far in TV and media, it's all the same. It's trash. Taking over corporate America with DEI is the dumbest idea, because you have a bunch of people that are unqualified to do every job that they get hired for, and then the results after hiring them are pretty obvious that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So there's that. Who thought it was a good idea to use DEI in this way where merit and education and skill isn't part of that, right? I have worked so hard over, my career to really build my resume, continue my skill set, and improvise on everything that I've dedicated my life to, right? At first, it was education, and then I steered into the financial field. Thank God. But I've worked so hard, and so has so many others, to go to college, do things one way, and then to be told, oh yeah, none of that matters, and now everything is based off of the color of your fucking skin and where you live, right? Everything is based off of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Diversity and equity and inclusion doesn't make you smart. That's not how this is supposed to work, and the idea that they're creating it like this, there's going to be a lot of corporations that are going to fall and fail and do horribly, and we're going to watch it, and we're going to see. Farming. They're continuing to try to destroy it in the United States of America, and China wants to seep its hands into the farming of the United States of America, and we got to do everything we can to stop them. None of us are safe, because if they could attack Donald Trump, and if a sniper could attempt to shoot, if a 20-year-old can attempt to shoot Donald Trump, what makes you think they won't have people outside where you live, right? Remember all the crazy ass people during the George Floyd protests, or these pro-Hamas supporters that are running around attacking Jewish people on the streets in New York, and basically everywhere at every college campus you could imagine in the United States? They're attacking us. I'm not going to apologize for supporting Israel. I'm not going to apologize for supporting the Jewish culture. I won't do that. I don't think that the Jewish culture should cave in to the United States of America and their cynical ideas. And I think it's inappropriate that the United States would go to Afghanistan for 20 fucking years, or Iran, or whatever it was, after 9/11. And you're going to tell all the people, they're still hostages, right? And they're still American hostages. And you're going to tell those family members of those people that they can't continue to fight for their country, for their freedom. Get the fuck out of here. All done with that. We can't fear our beliefs. You cannot be scared of these people because they're making fun of you because you're Catholic, you're Jewish, you're, Baptist, you're Christian, you belong to a non-affiliated church, and you just want to hear the word of God. You cannot let this conquer you. They, of course, are attacking you because you believe in something, because they believe in nothing. Of course, they're coming after you because they don't see anything, right? I talk heavily about faith in God and prayers and believing almost all the time. And I put Jesus Christ in my ending mantra when the podcast ends. We are omnipresent just like Jesus Christ. I'm putting it out there, man. I'm not getting any ad revenue from pushing the prayer app, but I'll push that. I'm not getting any ad revenue by telling you support American products, but I will push American products. You probably should try Blackout Coffee. You probably should try looking and investing your money into things that actually matter to your community and your culture. You probably should do that, right? And I'm, again, not looking for an ad from Halo, but I got to tell you, I kind of enjoy it. I kind of enjoy having an app that I can use to help me with my daily prayers. I kind of enjoy knowing that I have somewhere to go that's going to help me get to my goals of what's most important to me. And I'm not going to apologize for that. So if you believe like I do, if you're Christian, if you're Catholic, if you're Baptist, if you're Jewish, whatever faith you might be, if you believe in something, don't stop believing in it. Even if you're Indian and you believe in that faith, whatever it might be, outside of these psychopaths from Hamas, continue to believe and never stop. They want us to stop, and we can't. Moving on from the politics, thanks for tuning in too. No media allowed, no media allowed, no media allowed, because a lot of us. Anyway, Kamala Harris is going to be a horrible president, but let's just wait and let's just see. Let's get into red or blue, they're coming for you, the Matrix. The power of forgiveness. Now, I'm not really a person that forgives. And that might be difficult for people to hear, right? Like, what? You don't forgive people? I have a problem with my memory. I have a memory where I can't forget anything. So when people say things, when people do things, I can remember it like it just happened, even if it was like 50 days ago or 5 years ago. And because of that, it's not that I don't forgive people. It's just that I can't forget what they did if it was grimy. And that's the problem for me. But sometimes the best thing you can do in a situation is to let things go, right? If you're having difficulty at your job and your manager is a micromanaging middle manager pain in your ass, and they're doing everything the wrong way, and they're not following any policies, any procedures, and they're just doing whatever they want. Instead of being the employee that wants to contact HR and tell people what's happening, maybe don't say anything. I'm starting to believe that people are going to dig their own graves. They're made their beds and they're going to have to lay in them. And at some point, everybody is going to find out who the idiots actually are. And you don't really have to do anything for people to see that. I'm starting to believe that all the things that they're trying to hide can't be hidden. And you might be questioning, what do you mean? Well, exactly what I just said. How can you ever succeed if you're willing to hold on to something like anger or pain or a bad experience and you're not willing to let it go? I've developed anxiety and fear and hatred and all these bad experiences over the years from bad managers, bad experiences, and awful people. But now that I'm at this position in my life where I have my own podcast and I'm living the best existence that I can, I've let that go. And every day, even in my everyday experiences, I find myself just not caring. Because here's the thing. You can give all this effort and all this heart and all this mind to things and people, but they're not going to give it back to you. And instead of being a tattletale, instead of trying to fix things, maybe just focus on yourself only in that context, in that moment. You can't fix everything. You cannot fix, the manager class or the marketing or any of the higher ups at these corporations or these companies. And we've talked about the Great Resign. We've talked about friendships. We've talked about many things over the podcast, right? And you can't turn someone or change their thoughts or opinions. So the only thing that you can do is change yourself. And instead of holding on to grudges and anger, let it go. Like if your mom says something to piss you off, maybe be angry with her for a little bit of time, but call her on the phone and tell her you love her. If your brother pissed you off, give it a day or two and then text him back, right? Like if your best friend made you mad, maybe give it a couple days, but then text her back and be like, girl, blah, blah, blah. Like, learn to let things go. And it might not feel good in the moment, but later on, not having any of that baggage is going to be a great feeling. Just a thought. Moving on to the next part of the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to this Tuesday edition of Red or Blue, they're coming for you, The Matrix. The power of forgiveness is that you're not holding on to anything and you're living carefree and you don't have any baggage holding you down. You're not being held back by anger and just horrible feelings. Instead, you let it all go. Moving on from letting it all go, let's get to the main part of the conversation. Skyfall. And I started off podcast by singing the song. This is the end. Hold your breath and count to 10. Feel the earth move again. I think that we have a tendency not to recognize the moment or the importance of it. We are moving at such a fast pace in our life that we don't recognize something as critical and beautiful as something called Skyfall. Now, Skyfall is a movie, of course. It's a 007 movie. But the reason I made the title of the podcast Skyfall is because life can appear like that. Right? Life can feel like a skyfall. At one point, everything makes sense and everything's going the correct way and everything is moving the way you want it to. And then in a moment's notice, everything is going the opposite way. Nothing is going right and everything is gone and everything is chaotic. Yes, that is life. So when you recognize skyfall, the best recommendation I can give to you is to close your eyes and see how fast you can start to float. Life isn't always going to be predictable. It's not always going to be what you want it to be. You're not always going to have an experience that you think you're going to have. Sometimes you are going to not see things the way they're going to happen, or you're not going to have an amazing experience. But maybe you will. The idea of Skyfall, and and I have to say it to myself, is allowing yourself to jump out of that plane not knowing how you're going to get to the ground. Understanding that you have a parachute. Now, I'm not telling you to jump out of a plane, but if you decide you want to do that, if you decide you want to experience that, understand that you are going to get to the next stage of that. That is what I'm saying. Skyfall is recognizing that we're always just jumping in and we don't necessarily know how we're going to get to the next stage, but we got to know that the next stage is there. It's risking everything for something that we can't see the end of yet. And I say, let's risk it all. Because what is life if we don't try things? Do we really want to still be in the same place forever? Don't we want to maybe do things differently? That's the idea of Skyfall. Recognizing your truth is recognizing where you've been, looking in your mirror, reflecting on your life, the good, the bad, the ugly, the great, seeing your journey, your start, what you want for an ending, and accepting it. That's the idea of recognizing your truth. It's not lying to yourself, trying to be something that you not are. It's not trying to push yourself to be something that you don't understand, right? I know I like to dress a certain way. I know I like to smell a certain way. I know I like to eat certain foods. I know I like to do things a certain way. And guess what? That's my truth. I don't have a filter. I don't like lying, which is why I talk so much about politics, because I hate the idea that there's people that are making shit up, lying to hardworking men and women in this country. And the hardworking men and women in the country, a lot of them don't understand what's happening. That's crazy. I think that we have to understand that our value is loving ourselves, understanding your truth, where you've been, what you've experienced, how you got to where you're at now, what you're doing next, your career, your job. I mean, really, we shouldn't be investing ourselves in careers, because careers are for people that don't understand that we need to go to work to pay our bills. We don't have to necessarily love it. Maybe you do love it, or maybe you don't. But we need to understand that if you don't recognize your truth and you're not okay with your reflection, you're not okay with who you are and where you are now, you never will be. You'll always be chasing something that you'll never have. You have to accept your experiences, your past, your current, to get to the next stage of your life, to your journey. That is the idea of yes, you can at the beginning of the mantra, and that should be the idea of your life every day. Recognize your truth, your honesty, your reality, and don't try to hide it. If you've experienced something that you don't necessarily understand or like, it's okay. If you maybe didn't get something that you thought you were going to get, that's okay too. Whatever the case may be, recognize that and be okay with it. Stand above the followers. I noticed a trend where everyone just kind of goes with the flow and, oh, you're just going to do this and do that. And I've never been that person. I've never been a sheep. I've never been a follower. I've always been a trendsetter. I always create my own style. I always do things differently the way I think they should be done. And I've never been that person, and I never will be. I got to tell you, throughout my life, throughout my experiences with college and friends or jobs or shopping or watching things or eating things, I never really hopped up on the trend train, right? I always had this curiosity in the back of my mind and my consciousness, asking myself, like, why is everybody acquiescing to this? Why is everybody following this? I think, again, that leads me back to my awareness of political science and my interest in political science. Is because if you're able to control people in the masses like the government can, then you can basically do whatever you want. And that's a concern, or at least it should be, right? I look at the idea of COVID-19 as an example, and I'm tempted to think I was an idiot for being a follower in that regard, because I'm typically a person that asks a lot of questions about what I'm being vaccinated with, what's this shot for, what is this going to do, and how is this going to help me out in the future? Because I get the flu shot every year because I have horrible allergies, right? And I know if I get the flu shot early, I can avoid getting sick early on. But I'm fully aware of that. I didn't ask any questions during COVID. I trusted the government. I trusted Dr. Fauci. I trusted these people. And you know what they did? They lied. That is an example of being a follower. It's just like these people that get so excited about celebrities, or they get caught up in like reality TV and they think that the stuff's real. It's not. It's propaganda to get your attention, to make you want to consume or buy something. That's what commercials are. We all know that, right? We cannot get caught up in the idea of following people with social media, doing all this ridiculous shit, thinking that that's going to lead you to some great experience. Because it's likely it's not going to. It's likely you're not going to like the experience, or you're not going to like the outcome of something because you're not a follower. You have to be willing to set yourself some dirt in the road so you can figure out your own way to get to your destination. Because if you follow everyone else, do you want to follow yourself to the end? Don't you want to make the decision that's going to save you from whatever's chasing you? Be willing to fight. Be willing to say, I'm going to do something different. And be willing to not be a follower. Being a sheep is not always the best thing to do. Sometimes you should maybe be the lion, or maybe be the shark, or maybe be the bear. Sometimes you should be the one to eat the prey instead of being the one that's preyed upon. Sometimes life gives you lemons, and sometimes you should make lemonade, but maybe you should give the lemons back to life and say, not today. That's another option. Why do we have to follow things that we don't agree with? Why do we have to follow people that aren't that smart? Why do we have to recognize failure and pretend that it doesn't exist? Why would we be so willing to do that? Why wouldn't we question things? There's another question. Following can lead you down a road you've never been to before, and it lead you to an experience that you probably don't want. So be aware of following, and being aware of setting your own path and setting your own journey ahead. The beautiful unknown is sometimes just going for it, right? Planning out a trip and not planning anything to do on it when you get there. Like maybe a road trip, or maybe you want to go visit something or research something and you don't really know a lot of information about it, but you're interested in it. I think that the beautiful unknown is really an amazing, incredible thing when you don't have all the information on something and you're looking into it. And I kind of think that's creative and fun, right? As someone that likes peeking mysteries and likes solving things and discovering things, I can definitely tell you that there's something beautiful about that space of curiosity that no one knows anything about. Let them laugh. If people are laughing at you and making fun of you and trying to insult you and trying to diminish what you hold important, or trying to devalue you entirely, right? I'm talking about the hateful, mean, malicious, angry, sad, desperate, deceitful, hateful, jealous people that do exist everywhere. You just might not see them or hear them because they're silent and they're pretending like they like you and they hate you. Those people, if they want to laugh at you and they want to insult you and they want to make fun of you and they want to tell you everything you're not good at and give you doubt to suck in, right? If they want to be that entity of negativity, let them be. Because you know what all those people have in common? Nothing. Because they are nothing. And they have nothing. And they are nothing. These people who want to chastise you and manipulate you and make you feel bad about yourself, like you're trying to accomplish something to make them happy. No, you're not. I said it to you the other day. Why are we apologizing for being successful? Right? Why are we apologizing for making it? If you're not making it, that's not my fucking problem. Maybe you should figure out a way to make it. Why am I saying sorry to you? Because you're at the bottom of the barrel and I'm at the top. Not my problem, right? If you want to succeed, if you want nice things, if you want to eat good food, if you want to drive a nice car, if you want a house, if you want all these things, if you want to accomplish things and you want to travel and you want to meet new people and you want to do big things, then you have to be willing to do them. No one's going to give it to you. That's the great thing about life. You get to create your life, your destiny, your road forward. No one else. And the idea that we're supposed to project insanity onto each other and pretend like that's not the case is a problem. These people that I'm talking about that are going to laugh at you are hateful. They're mad. They're angry. They're jealous. They can't have the things that they want and they want to blame you for that. It's not my fault that you can't achieve your goals. Too damn bad. Figure it out. I figured it out. I'm not saying anybody owes me anything because they don't, right? You know I like nice stuff. You know I like designer things. You know I have expensive taste. You know I like good food. You know I like Starbucks, which is probably a problem, which is why I'm switching to Javi. You know I like German vehicles because I hate American cars. And we know I like things you can't buy in stores because I have high quality taste. I'm not saying sorry for that. That's not my problem if you don't. It's not my problem if you think McDonald's is like some big, serious restaurant. It's fast food. Let's not pretend like people laughing at you aren't getting laughed at too. Because someone is laughing at them. And maybe it should be you. Trace the connection. If you feel like you have a connection with somebody or something, maybe you should trace the connection. Why are you interested in learning more about, sharks in the water? What have you experienced that has led you to find an interest in sharks? Or why are you interested in tornadoes? I mean, if you are interested in tornadoes, I don't recommend chasing them. I mean, there's so many ways we can become interested in something and we can find things that are peculiar, right? Or we want to learn more about it. And I think that a great way we can do that is by tracing where that connection starts. Connecting together why we're interested. And I think that's so important. Extraordinary can't be normal. And why would it be? Right? If you want to be all these amazing things and you want to live this amazing life, that's not normal. Normal is not extraordinary. And extraordinary isn't normal. There's an understanding that if you want to be the limelight, if you want to live the life, if you want to have amazing experiences and you don't want to just live a basic existence, you're going to have to do something to separate yourself from everybody else. We talked about sheeps earlier, right? We talked about the idea of recognizing your truth in Skyfall, jumping out of that plane with your eyes open or closed, being willing to chance everything. If you're willing to be an extraordinary person, if you're willing to be a radiant light, then you're never going to be normal. And you have to be okay with that. I know I'm a star and I'll never be a rock. Right? I know I'm a diamond and I know I'm not a piece of glitter. Right? I know my value and my worth. I know that I'm timeless. I'm priceless. There's no amount of money that can afford me. right? I recognize my worth, my admiration, my perseverance, everything that makes me who I am as a being. I know that. And I don't expect anyone else to, because I know that. So if you want to be extraordinary, understand what that means and be willing to put everything into that. Others might not understand it, but you can't worry about them, because if you're going to be extraordinary, you're going to be at that top, and you might not be up at that top with anybody else but yourself. Be aware of that. Moving into the next part of the conversation. Can we talk about The Boys? Thank you. So let's tune into Star Watch Talk. Star Watch Talk. We watch together. So I watched the season finale of The Boys with Skip, because we got caught up on all our stuff. We're still behind on Game of Thrones, but we're going to try to watch that either tomorrow or the day after. Fingers crossed we get through 3 episodes, I think. I do think that the season finale of The Boys was great and crazy, and I'm totally excited to see what happens when the last season comes out of it, even though I'm not happy about that, but I understand. But so much happened in that last episode, and it definitely took me by surprise, but not really. I love the idea of a superhero show where the superheroes are a bunch of assholes, and I kind of like the correlation between actual reality and superheroes instead of like that Disney crap. Um, and don't get me wrong, I loved watching, Captain America and all those characters in that time, but the world has changed, life has changed, and reality has changed. And I don't think they'd be able to make an Iron Man the way that they made it before now. Like, I don't think it'd work. I don't think anybody would actually go see that or take it seriously. So I think understanding where we are today leads me to think that The Boys is a brilliant show. And I loved the last episode, and I can't wait to see what's next when the new season does come out. I love spy show. I don't know what that is, but maybe. Which James Bond is your favorite? Mine is... I let you guess. There's so many different James Bonds. I really did like the last James Bond before they want to replace him. I thought he did a phenomenal job. Skyfall was definitely good. I definitely liked No Time to Die. That was definitely great. But if we're going to talk about the actual best James Bond, From Russia with Love was definitely great. You Only Live Twice, that's definitely one of my favorites. Oh my God, I can't tell you how many times I've seen that movie. No Time to Die. Goldfinger. There's something about the old James Bonds where they have the music and like it's about a specific character in the movie. And I'm sorry, but my favorite James Bond's not Roger Moore. It's definitely what's his name? There's so many amazing James Bonds, but Goldfinger was definitely number one for me. It'd definitely go down as my most favorite James Bond of all time. There's something about the older James Bonds that just attract me to want to see what else is happening. And I'm not saying that the newer ones don't, because they do, but it's different, right? Dr. No was definitely not one of my favorite episodes, movies, but I've watched it enough times that I understand it. Skip can't stand that movie, but I've watched it over and over and over again. And I mean, I don't love it, but I don't hate it. Thunderball, pretty good. Warning Shots, Emperor. Thunderball was okay. That's got the bad guy that's in like the boat under the sea. I thought that the teeth were pretty cool. There's so many reasons why I love 007. Whoever they replaced the last James Bond with, hopefully they do a good job. Daniel Craig did an amazing job as James Bond, and we'll have to see who's next. Warning Shots, I don't really know what that's about, but I saw a preview. Emperor Ocean Park, I'm assuming that's like some like sort of like I think it's a show about like this neighborhood. It looked okay, maybe. House of Dragons, the latest episode. These people during these dragon times are crazy, and like they do a lot of insane things, and the backstabbing and the front stabbing and the Game of Thrones stuff. It's kind of entertaining, and I can't wait to see what happens when we get all caught up with it. Fun. Moving on from Star Wars Talk, we watched together Keto shortbread brownies. I'm definitely going to try that. What's new at Panera? They got a lot of new things added to their menu, but I don't know. We haven't been in a while. We should probably go check that out. Creamy cucumber radish salad. Kind of sounds gross to me, but maybe I'd try it. I don't know. What is monkey bread? It's this really cool, crazy bread. You really got to follow the specific instructions to make it, though. I really can't tell you what monkey bread is. I think I've only had it one time, but it was pretty great, and I'd love to have it again. Meatball zucchini boats. It sounds grosser than it looks, so don't knock it till you try it, right? So you basically cut a zucchini in half, take out all the innings of it, then load it up with the meatballs and the sauce and the cheese, shove that back in the oven, let that cook off for about 5 to 12 minutes, let the cheese melt just perfectly, and eat. Cover it with some Parmesan on top. Boom. There you go. This is a no carb deal, and I think you'll be very surprised with how good it is. I know it doesn't sound the best, but I think we should try it. Anyways, that is the end of the pod. Thank you for tuning in to Born to Be a Star. Don't forget that you are a star wherever you are. Remember, brothers and sisters, you, me, us, they, them. We are not only going to save the United States and Canada and every other country that exists within it, and I'm talking about England and Germany and Italy and Russia and China and South Korea, North Korea, whatever country it may be, Japan, or even Australia on the outback, Maine, whatever it may be, right? We're going to save all the countries around the world. And we're going to save the world. And we're going to save the galaxies beyond the galaxies beyond the galaxies, because we are omnipresent, just like Jesus Christ. We were here when everything started, and we'll be here when everything ends. We are the beginning, the middle, and the end. We are the light in the darkness, and the darkness can't defeat us because we are the light. The one thing that never ends and is always is us. I want you to see your star power, to radiate your star power, so we can change everything together. Because in the darkness, I see that you are the light, and I hope you see my light too. See you same place, same time tomorrow. Don't forget that you are a star wherever you are. Continue to resonate the star power so we can change everything together. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Night.